Okay, before we start, I'd like to show a little product I've been sent, and I'm going to review this on my other channel, but I thought I'd give you a little bit of a heads up on this. Okay, so this has got to be the smallest biro refill that I've ever seen. Okay, so you get an idea of the capsules that I've got in here. Okay, this is a Woburn G3. Now that is a sharp blade. If you need lightweight EDC, or you need something, a capsule to hide if you're going in somewhere, use your imagination where you can put that. But yeah, look, there's the tiniest little pen as well. Okay, yeah, writing is a freedom, but there's some places you might not be able to do that. Okay, so we have the Woburn G2, which is a keyring light. Now this is nice because it's rechargeable, but it's not just a run-of-the-mill cheap thing. This is actually high quality. Okay, so you can see that there, it's got LED, and I'll just turn it on and give you an idea of what it does. Okay, this is technology as all torches are now. Okay, so you can scroll through and you have a very bright light. Okay, so yeah, LED technology, nice, USB chargeable. Okay, so you don't need to worry about small batteries or anything like that, and it has a belt clip as well. Comes in different colours. Now I've chosen 3. Okay, I've got 3 of these, 2 for family members, and I've had to have the black one because if you've got black, then you know you're going to come back. I think that's how it goes, isn't it? Yeah. So there we go. Nice, and it's a slim fit as well. Yeah. So it's Woburn G2 for the lamp and Woburn G3 for the kit, which this is an EDC thing, and yeah, if you know what to do with it, you know what to do with it. Hi there guys and girls, hello, welcome back to the Apocalypse Chronicles, and what's happening today? Well, it's not as sun as it has been all week, yeah, but I'll give you a scav update first of all. Truck mirror, yeah. These are better than domestic mirrors because they are plastic. Yes, they do break, but they are stronger, okay, and a little bit more scratch resistant, yeah, than the plastic mirrors that you get cheap in the shop, yeah. And I've got one of these to do the shaving. As you can tell, I shave every day, don't I? Yeah, but I broke a mirror. I knocked it over, smashed it. I got another one for the house, but this one is pretty handy, yeah, and it's actually not flat. Okay, so it gives more of a perspective. Yeah, you lorry drivers will know about these, and I'm pretty sure if you've been on the road for any time, if you've done European tramping, stuff like that, you will use your truck mirror to have a wash and that sort of thing. Yeah, so for scabs as well, there's this thing here. Now this was a find. This is the find of the week, which is this works. I'm not going to pump it up because it's actually got something in the bottom, and I think they're chemicals, weed killer anyway, yeah. But this came with a lawnmower, a grass collecting bucket, which I kept driving past, and I thought, yeah, that's a bit weird. What's that doing there? Have I got a use for it? It took a couple of days to twig that I could use that to put a rat trap in it, and when I've caught the rat that's around here and buried him for compost, then what I'll do is I'll use that for growing something in as well, yeah, because I'm short of containers, really. I have actually scavenged as well. I'll just show you this, yeah, this as well, which is a large container to grow things in, just put earth in it. As well as bags, you know, these type of bags you get, these are pretty good, they're strong, yeah. Problem is I don't have much soil, and the compost is quite expensive from supermarkets, so what I will be doing is having more walks for exercise, carrying a spade and a rucksack, a Bergen, something like that, lined with plastic, and then I shall get myself enough of over a period of time, yeah. And of course I'm also doing reconnoiters. I'm not going to steal it, am I? I'm going to find common ground where the earth is rich, which I can then substitute, because I don't have compost at the moment. It takes time to make compost, so that's the thing. Plus the benefit is of exercise, isn't it? You carry weight on your back and walk. Gets the old glutes working, doesn't it? It gets the leg muscles working, and I find I'm not having enough exercise at work, even though I'm on my feet all day. Yeah, so yeah, that's a one. Right, so I don't know what you've heard recently, if you've been keeping up with certain news. I looked at an article which was on RT News, and it was saying that an American company is warning against embargoes on Russian oil, and the reason for that is the oil price will shoot up to something like $185 a barrel, which is very concerning. Okay, and then Lad comes in last night. His dad, he drives lorries and he's a technician as well, and he was saying, oh yeah, there's a new system on the Scania where you can get updates, news updates. And he'd phoned his lad because he said that the fuel possibly could be going up by 64 pence a litre. Going up by 64 pence a litre, which puts the price at £2.50 a litre, which if you're watching from America, that's about $3 something a litre. Not a gallon, but a litre, yeah, that is crippling. That is crippling. That'll be crippling for our industries and crippling for people who commute, okay? And people like myself, I have no choice unless I change my job, yeah? It's coming. I'm pretty sure it's coming. So yeah, this is a shit show, to be honest with you. And how I look at it, although some people might think it's a bit virtuous to try to get the situation sorted in Ukraine, they're putting fuel on the fire. Fighting for peace is like fucking for virginity. Giving guns to a corrupt government who are losing is just throwing money into a hole. Now, I have heard reports about certain weapon systems are being sold straight on when they've been imported into the Ukraine, and I would agree generally that is happening. That is happening. If the Russians aren't taking it out, there's a percentage getting to the front, and the rest of it is being carted straight away to other armies. The amount of weapons going into that country is a joke. Yeah, if those weapons are going elsewhere, you'll see them appear later on, won't you? And if you're watching all sides of the story, you'll realise that the Russians are also capturing a lot of European or NATO weapons as well. The tank busting stuff, yeah, the javelins, yeah, the javelin systems and the MLAWs, stuff like that. Yeah, of course there are losses and there are people dying, but there are groups of people who are very greedy and selfish and they don't care. I think our politicians are very much the same. I think it's the same in Europe as well. They are virtually signalling and dragging us down with it, and I think you'll understand as well, if you keep up with the news, that Germany is going to suffer, we are going to suffer, or we already are starting with that, yeah. Although I did hear that the UK have lifted sanctions on a Russian bank for just to aid with gas payments, which, okay, are they backtracking? I hope so. Yeah, it's a shit show, it's a clown show, and I'll leave you a link to Alex Christoforu, who talks a lot about this, and he digs up the news, he summarises it. Whether you agree with it or not, it's up to you. I have my own opinions, which are actually, it's not opinions, I just generally just gather information and then try to assess the situation from there, which is very difficult if you only listen to the mainstream news. So the link below here on this video, if you're interested in just getting a summary every day, then you know you're onto a winner, because then you can strategize against that. But yeah, as far as I'm concerned, I don't like politicians very much at all. And Boris Johnson is rabid. The way he comes over, the way his force is behind his voice, that he's so convinced that that Putin's going to fail. But it doesn't look like it at the moment, does it? It looks like we are all failing. It's a lose-lose situation. Fighting for peace is like fucking for virginity. Yeah. If you understand what I mean. There's no discussions, there's no dialogue. It's just head-on, isn't it? Which is dragging everything down. Okay, we'll leave that there because it is political, and I'm personally apolitical. Like I say, I think it's a shit show. But I'll give you an update on the what's happening on the garden. Got an apple tree. Now that is an investment which I'm going to plant. The place I live here is rented, and I don't think we've got that much of a future here. I'd like a better place with a bigger garden. But in the meantime, what I'll do is I'll plant stuff which I know is strategic, I can come back to and take the fruit later on. And I've noticed, and you probably noticed this as well, you'll see an apple tree on the side of the road, won't you, which just, the apples get run over, they're not really accessible and people don't care. There's a doctor's surgery in Kings Lynn, that's in Norfolk, which round the back, either somebody planted a tree there or they just chucked an apple core down. and the apple tree has grown and it bears fruit every year, and it just lays about all over the floor, or it has done for years and years. And I always go there every year to help myself to the apples, just bag them up and go. Yeah. Specifically in this area, just over the way, somebody's planted apple trees there, and she comes every year. We've been here 2 years now, and gets bags of apples, bags them up, and they're just, the windfalls just lay about all over the place. But I'm pretty sure that somebody strategically planted those, which is great, and this is what needs to happen. Everything is ornamental because it's easier to cultivate and to maintain, because you don't need to do much with those plants, do you? Like gorse bushes and crap like that. Whereas it's not useful, it's only good to the eye, isn't it, at the end of the day? Whereas food, which is available, you have to literally go and put it there first, and then tend it so you can go back year after year after year. Okay, so yeah, that's the strategy. I'm looking for cheap fruit plants or trees, because they are expensive at this time of the year. That was £30-40 from Tesco's, £12, yeah, which will go in the front garden. I'll get a couple more later. As for freebies, well, they're not exactly free, but things like potatoes that have gone off, they can be planted, because these are called chitlins. They've got sprouts, so you can plant them. Beans, now I let those go off. I didn't catch them in time. I bought them, was going to eat them, green beans, but now I'm going to lay them out in the sun, let them dry out and get the seeds out of them. We might get a crop out of these next year, which would be interesting, because then that's a little bit of investment. Trying to grow some ginger. I learned how to do that from YouTube, yeah, and we'll see how we'll go. But things like the over here, coriander, yeah, that's started to take. The mint is actually okay in where it is. I relocated it, it's okay, which is good for mint teas, stuff like that, yeah, or mint sauce, meh. And then the parsley, which I didn't think was growing, has just started to sprout, so that's okay. Yeah, things are growing. Well, and that actually gives me a sense of achievement, yeah. The spinach is growing really well on one side, so I planted some more. Some of the seeds that I bought, though, I think there's a small percentage that I'm going to get a success rate, but things are growing. Broad beans that I've got, you can see this here, nice, that's starting to grow, yeah, so that's I'm happy with that. I will replant that and then let it grow up. And I've got some tomato plants which don't seem to be doing too well, but the trade-off here is, because the spinach is good and it's crammed in that pot, I'm going to dig a few out and pot them. And somebody's grown me some tomato plants, yeah, which I can then do a trade with. So there you go, some spinach, you give me some tomatoes, that's all good, yeah, that's the way it works. So yeah, I scavved some tent poles, I think they are, or some cheapo gazebo that, you know, you buy for like £10. You put it up and the wind then blows it over, and you chuck the tent poles away. They were in a skip, and they will come in useful for poles. I was also given some more raspberry plants, so the poles will help things to grow upwards, and that's half of the idea. Now, I know some of you guys said, oh, yeah, I can't grow anything, I haven't got any space. Now, I did watch a guy, and I'll leave a link below here, video as well, of this guy who got some Coke bottles and a wooden frame, filled the Coke bottles up with earth, nailed them to this frame, put some seeds in it, and then he had a wall full of salad leaves, yeah, which is great. Yeah, so I mean, the whole thing is a learning curve for me, and part of this, okay, you got to learn to grow, so it won't be productive this year as much, but it's learning to first of all grow, and then to learn how to crop it, so I get more and more every year, plus the seeds from the end of the year for the next year. So say 2 to 3 years, then hopefully if I can get somewhere to live that's got a bigger garden, then I can become more self-sufficient. It's a learning curve that's going to take time. If you've got preps, for instance, that you have got for maybe a year's supply, they're going to run out, aren't they? What are you going to do after then? You're going to have to be self-sufficient in one way or another, okay? Now, regarding preps, coffee, tobacco, stuff like that, okay, it's all imported. This is stuff that you should be storing. You can grow, or you'll find that farmers markets in the UK, the stuff that is grown here, you'll be able to get or trade with, but the stuff that's imported, especially tobacco for some of you guys that smoke, it's going up in price crazily. Yeah, it went up. Amber leaf went up by £1 yesterday, so we're looking at nearly £19 for a pouch for 30 grams, which is very expensive. If you were a smoker and you're not going to give up so soon, you'll have to sooner or later, won't you? Yeah, but coffee, okay, that will last the interim period, you can trade, but then later on, autumn time, if you happen to know where there are acorns, yeah, you can turn that into coffee, ersatz coffee. They did it in the First World War, didn't they? The Germans had something called ersatz, which is like a substitute coffee, yeah. So there are always ways around it if you know how to do it, yeah. And like I say, I'm learning myself, yeah. But if you are storing, you need to store stuff that is imported. Stuff that you get in the UK, okay, it will still be here, won't it? Carrots, cabbages, cauliflowers, stuff like that. I know some of you guys are into plant-based stuff. You'll think, great, okay, that's all right. But meat eaters, well, like myself, the next step is to learn to hunt, and I will be getting a crossbow and finding out where the roadkill comes from, because the area that's here, there is a lot of deer that gets hit, yeah, so the population must be quite high, and I'm not scared to kill something, string it up and skin it. Yeah, it was one of those things I learned in the Ukraine, skinning goats. Yeah, so it's a possibility. That's another thing to learn, but it is also proteins and fats, yeah. So it's forever expanding. As one collapses inwards, ever decreasing circles, then another circle should expand, and this is what you should be looking at, being adaptable and being able to expand your possibilities. Yeah, you'll probably think, well, you should have done all this before, but you can't, can you? Once you're faced with a risk, and you have an early warning system, then you think, right, okay, we're going to go through the shit for a few years. Okay, I've got preps for a year. The next year we'll be harvesting more crops and hunting, yeah, and then the year after that, well, they'll either expand or things will get back to normal, or something will happen. You don't know, do you? Anyway, okay, that's enough from the Apocalypse Chronicles now. I think I've talked enough. Always love to hear your comments of what you're doing, what you're going through, how you're preparing. Windy, really windy today, no sun. Anyway, until then, see you later, guys. Take it easy.